Here we go.
Good one.
Hello and welcome to the Salty Witches podcast. Your beautiful, beautiful hosts are here. Hello, Saltines. I keep looking down here because I can see things. Sorry. Hello, Saltines. So we have some really cool stuff we're going to talk about. We're just going to jump right in. I'm going to jump in with our exercise to kind of get us to where we want to be. So what I want everyone to do is close your eyes, both feet on the floor. I actually had Hecate help me with this exercise, and some things that she kind of gave me are going to be really cool. So close your eyes and just breathe in, just, rhythmic breathing, just all that nice good stuff that we always do when we're calming. Let out those sighs, stretch your neck, roll your shoulders. Now what I want you to do is I want you to put both hands over your heart. I want you to envision 3 flames of any color that are around your heart. 3 flames, 3 lights, 3 torches, if you will. And I just want you to breathe in, let them flicker and flare, and as you breathe out, that breath propels them. And they don't stop. But with each exhale, they begin to pick up speed.
They're spinning?
Yep, around your heart.
Okay.
And as they spin, they begin to create a circle of light, a circle of sparks. Let them be whatever color you need. They could be purple, they could be white, they could be gold, they could be black if you want, whatever. If you want to go into color magic and you're thinking of things that you want to focus on, great. But as they begin to spin and sparks begin to fly off, I want you to just, on your exhale, send out a wave of light. As we breathe in, that light reflects back to us. And as we exhale, we let that light continue to go. And I want you to just do this for a few breath cycles. You might notice that your body temperature increases, it might decrease. When you start to feel that buildup of light and that buildup of power, I want you to just bring your hands to form a triangle. And let that breath blow through that triangle. Taking the energy and the light that you have spun outwards and reflected back to you, and projecting it outwards. When we project this light, what we are doing is we are effectively creating our path. We are seeing our path before us. And I want you to just bring to mind at least 3 people in your life who you know beyond a shadow of a doubt have no problem walking with you, being with you. For me, that is Mike, Mom, and Mia. I mean, I have more, but you can add. You can add to it.
So I was going to say you, Mom, and Mia. So
yeah. And then I have Fern and Anthony as well. And they walk with us. And we focus that road. And I want you to just bring how these people make you feel when you're around them. Not in a work sense, not anything other than just existing. Now let that light, let that road turn into a moon. A moon of that color. And we cradle that moon in our hands and we send it up. And we let that moon's light shine down on us and those who are our chosen people. Letting that light soften the energy around us, knowing that our chosen family, our chosen friends, our chosen companions are there for us, and we are there for them. And that even though in dark times and at crossroads, we are alone sometimes, that does not mean that we are ever truly alone. We are always surrounded by our spirits, and we are always surrounded by those who love and support us. See those connections and let those connections weave a web of light. Weave a web of light with your companions. You have this web woven, and it is illuminated in all its glory, in all its light, in all its power. You're going to say, my path is my own.
My path is my own.
But the road I walk has companions.
The road I walk has companions.
And though they do not work for me,
Though they do not work for me,
or I for them,
or I for them,
our interests are to elevate one another.
our interests are to elevate one another
along our individual paths
along our individual paths
that can join together in harmony.
that could join together in harmony.
And so it is.
So it is.
And then allow yourself to come back. Short, simple.
I felt like a liar.
You felt like a
I feel
liar.
like a liar.
Maybe because I worked for two of my people on the triangle.
Okay, but like
Oh.
you work for us, but like most of the time, let's be real, you're managing me. So who works for who?
That's fair.
It's true. I need a manager. And I don't mean in the Karen way. I mean, help me. The metaphor's coming. Please help.
I'm a good manager, I think. I
You
try.
are. You are. All right. So that's my portion. I'm going to chime in when other people chime in. But other than that, I'm going to turn everything over to Mike and Mia.
All right. So Mia, would you like to get started with some astrological
Yeah.
significances?
Tell us what the stars are doing. Tell us
Those
the
damn
bullshit.
stars that we can blame for everything. Okay.
Yes, blame the stars.
That's what we do. Okay. So now today's the 24th, right?
Cheers.
Just need to double check. So we already got past the autumn equinox and we're coming up. The next, I'm still really not digging the fucking Mars and Cancer, but it's weirdly it's actually been good for me. It's been like less bad than I thought it was. So shout out to the cardinal signs who are dealing with the bullshit of Mars and Pluto on that last degree. We're almost making it through towards the end of November. Let's go shout out to cardinal signs. Okay, that's Aries.
Hey, cardinal signs.
That's Libra, that's Capricorn, that's Cancer. Okay, so we're really feeling those pressures. I'm feeling those pressures for us. I think they're extra. Anyways, okay. I skipped through until I saw something cool pop up, and we do have that solar eclipse is happening on October 2nd. That is going to be
Which is a new moon, isn't it?
It's basically, yes, basically exactly the new moon. Also conjunct Mercury and the South Node. That's when the that solar eclipse is going to be happening. So we're getting lots of that. So what's a solar eclipse? So there's eclipse of that sun energy filtering through the moon, and all that is going through Libra. All right.
Oh, so some balance.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's like
Harmonizing balance.
it might be because eclipse is like, intense shit.
Yeah.
It might be an intense, like, you're gonna fucking balance right the fuck goddamn now. Okay.
I'm
Shout out
sure.
to cardinal signs because we're gonna be the ones probably paying the price the most. Y'all fucking mutables get off easy right now. Okay. Actually, no. Saturn is still doing that weird shit. You guys
Is
can,
Virgo a mutable sign?
yeah.
Oh my God. So my top 4 are all mutable.
Yeah, you guys are all mutable.
Yeah.
Except, wait, you're
No,
rising.
no, my rising Sag.
You are fucking
Yeah.
both of you are triple mutable.
Yep.
Well, whatever. Okay. Guys are getting off easy, all right? So we got the
It
solar
doesn't feel
eclipse.
like it, okay?
I know. You guys, yeah, you're going with the flow. You feel the effects of the tantrums that us and the rest of the cardinal signs are having right now. Fixed signs, I don't know what fixed signs are doing right now.
And we don't
They
know.
just kind of
They're trying to control
shoot up
everything. They're just trying to control everything.
Please don't hold it inside until you explode. Fixed signs, please.
Fixed
Please.
signs journal. You need the journal.
We need to talk to your mutable signs.
Get
Okay?
Journal, talk, healthy coping mechanisms.
Yes. So we have the new moon that is conjunct Mercury. And so all that is going to be happening in Libra. Libra likes glitter. Libra likes aesthetics. And so we're going to make that a glittery, eccentric fucking eclipse, solar eclipse. And that's going to be interesting. Okay. And then depending on your rising sign, where that hits, it's going to be activating. Kind of annoyed by that word and wish I had a different word other than activation. But anyways, depending on your
Popping
rising,
off.
yeah, popping what it's gonna be like popping off in what area your specific life. That's going to be calculated using your rising sign. So I'd recommend to go on astro.com if you know the time of your birth
And book a reading with Mia.
or you can book with me and then I can do it. And we can see where that is going to be popping off. All right. Pushing through with that goddamn Pluto hanging on for dear life, that last degree of Capricorn. And then we have the other two, there was just two other real quick ones that I saw as I was scrolling through my little Astro Gold. Okay. Fucking October 2nd. I already said that one. October 10th. Okay, October 10th. Why did I save that one? Let me see really quick. See why I saved this one.
Masamune is now an official manager.
Moon.
Yeah.
Conjunct.
Yeah,
Pluto,
she's
maybe?
a photo
I don't know,
bomb
it's
back
kind of
there.
I think I might have saved October 10th because the moon is going conjunct Pluto. So things in that we are thinking that we organized out of our underworld might be questioned for between October 9th-ish, 10th, 11th-ish. Okay. So there's like a double check. There's a whole theme of like the revision of our underworld going on with Pluto in Capricorn. Like Capricorn wants to organize and it wants to make money off of it and shit. And so like how do we make money? How do we like really capitalize and benefit and like benefit others off of our underworld and off of our, like hidden things, our little mucky things? How do we transform? Okay. So the moon is just going to be making you do a little double check on have you been doing those appropriate shadow workings on yourself? Okay. So I think that's why I saved it. And then October 16th, we have the full moon, full moon in Aries. Okay. Always a good time for for full moon.
Um,
I think that this is going to be an interesting full moon because of the solar eclipse. We had a solar eclipse in 2022.
Mhm.
20, I think it was 22. 22, we had the solar eclipse node shift on the axis of Aries and Libra. Okay. So anything when we're going through that, anything happening on that axis of Aries and Libra is gonna be like louder for us in those themes of our life of like I am and we are, I am and also I balance. So like I am and I want to be versus who I need to be. Okay. So that's going to be popping off and possibly I'm suspecting just like divinationally wise off of this. I think that there's some kind of full circle moment to this solar eclipse happening so soon, just literally less than 2 weeks before that full moon on that same axis that we had that huge ass solar eclipse in 22. I don't know. I feel like there's a connection there.
we'll need to pull some cards on it.
So I will need to defer to smarter astrologers and also pull some cards on it because as we all know, I definitely am smarter with tarot. For now.
For now.
Okay. So full moon, October 16th. Mercury's just behind. This is a good time to like bring some cheeriness if you're feeling that dreary still of the Mars and Cancer shit going on. Okay. So bring some cheer into the drear. And
like that.
check
You're
your
into the drear.
check your wounds, man. We got a lot of shit in the cardinal signs. This is stuff that's going to be largely longer term impacting, even if you are not a cardinal sign. When there's a lot of intense shit happening in cardinal signs for you, in my opinion, I think it's going to impact larger like patterns. And so those are the three things that I saved from scrolling casually through my Astro Gold.
We love it. We love it. Thank you, Mia. So,
Excuse me. I'm
I
so
just taught a
sorry.
class, so my brain is not
You're good. You're good.
astrology, so I
You're
did
good.
that.
No, you're
much
good.
better than
Brain is-
normal.
You're still in Kabbalah mode.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am gonna say that I'm super excited for those things, especially with the like, it needs to be glittery, because that means I get to pull out all of the theater, my
Yes.
ritual.
Do it.
Well, we're getting into like spooky season, so
Yeah.
we tend to do that anyway.
Yeah, so I am going to be performing a Rite of Her Sacred Fires in October, just because I think it's always good, and I am going to make that available online.
Yeah.
So the Rite of Her Sacred Fires is going to be for the full moon, and I might do it for the dark moon as well,
Uh-huh.
just because I'm
yeah,
specifically
the dark moon would I mean, traditionally would be more appropriate.
well, yeah, but the Rite of Her Sacred Fires by Sarita Diesta is supposed to be done on a full moon.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Hey,
You'll have to talk to Sarita Diesta about that.
it's good to follow.
You know,
follow the pattern.
Okay.
Or maybe it has to be, I don't know. I'll have to check. But anyway, so I am going to make that available online. If anyone would like to do that, please contact the shop. We will get you registered for that. It's just $5 a person. No one will be turned away for lack of funds, but the $5 does help keep Zoom going so that we can do that. And that $5 does also help keep fire in the cauldron.
Which is Zoom.
Yes. I will be building a crossroads with light. It's going to be super duper great.
I'm excited.
So yeah. Okay. I'll shut up now and I'll hand it over to Mike.
Yeah. What do we got going on with the geocentric stuff?
Yeah.
So as far as the geocentric stuff, so remind me just before I dive into this, because a couple of episodes back we were talking about, if I remember correctly, there was a Jupiter-Mars conjunction happening, right? Somewhere within the last month, right? We saw Jupiter-Mars conjunct.
Jupiter-Mars?
Yeah.
Hold on. Loading. I don't. Oh wait, no. Yeah. It was It was like it was fucking 24th, 25th of August.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So everyone's looking at me as first.
Okay. So it's weird. Yeah.
Thank you, Devin.
Mia had got her hair done. It's very cute.
Heroism.com.
Very cute.
Book with Devin.
Yes. Heroism.com. Yes. Anyway, okay, I wanted to double check on that because I went in and I did some planetary mapping, and I did that specifically because on our last episode I talked a little bit about some of this weird energy that was popping up with this weird triangulation between Mars, Mercury, and Earth. And fortunately, the planets have now moved in their orbit to the point where we're no longer seeing that weird kind of butting of heads happening between Mars and Mercury. And we're no longer seeing kind of both of those planets kind of forcing that conflict toward Earth in that triangulation. And again, remember, this is from a geocentric
Right. I just like to see how it blends.
perspective
Yeah.
perspective of our solar system. So when I went in to look at mapping over the next week or so, the interesting thing that popped up is that Jupiter and Mars are still in this very interesting position. And when you look at the way that they're oriented within our current solar system, they're still almost actually in a position of conjunct as it relates to their alignment to Earth. And so it's interesting that because what that in essence does is it still puts us in a position to see the energies of Jupiter pushing at Mars from behind and forcing those martial energies toward Earth. And for a lot of people, they're like, well, what the hell does that mean? We're still kind of we're seeing kind of a repeat of that energy that we saw in August. A little bit of a taste of that, where we're seeing kind of like that.
Could it be a cleanup of that?
That's kind of what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking is
Okay.
happening, because it is definitely a waning energy.
You were talking about the moon harmonizes, maybe.
Yeah, and that's why I think there's a waning energy there. And like I said, and I think it's kind of like that. It's like one of those moments where we think like, oh, I did it, I'm done, right? And then, and there's that last little thing that like pops back up, and it's like, no, you're not quite done yet, right? And then we realize like, oh shit, yeah, I've got to go back and do this one last piece, right?
But now you need to frost it in the picture.
There you go, right? Exactly.
The same with the October 10th vibes.
Yeah, and so again, so that conjunct energy that happened with those two planets, specifically Jupiter and Mars, back in August, was very much like that. It was in a positive context, back at the time we were talking about that. We were talking a lot about this manifesting as kind of like this could be like a highly creative time, and a positive context, a very joyful warrior kind of energy. There was a lot of creativity. This could potentially be an energy that could have a lot to do with like advancement and promotion around ideas, aspirations, work, just a very conquest kind of energy, right? Which is what we see from the benefic influences of Jupiter, and then that very warrior-like energy that we associate with Mars. But you also always have to look at the shadow aspect of those things too, particularly in planetary magic. And what we're seeing now is we're seeing, again, not only those energies, but we're also seeing Mars with its butt basically in Jupiter's face, saying like, okay, your benefic energies and the part of you that normally is there to provide abundance to the people of Earth, like that energy still filters through, but it's going to be a lot harder for people to feel that. In order to really feel that energy, in order to actually feel that sense of prosperity, people are going to have to get up and they're going to really have to ask for what they want.
Okay.
Like they're going to really have to get up.
Mercury, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's the Mars influence.
Oh.
It's the Mars influence basically saying
Mars
like
doing that part to Mars.
It's the Mars. So that's Mars getting in the way of Jupiter's benefic energy and saying like, okay, if you want the good luck, if you want the prosperity, it's not so much about verbally asking for it. It's more about like, you better show up.
Yeah.
Like you better be prepared to actually go out into the field and do the work. Like you better. So I guess with that in mind, like you need to be prepared to take action. Like this is like, for at least the next week or so, nobody is just going to hand you anything.
Tell me like October 7th.
Like you're gonna have to earn it. Yeah. So at least through the end of September. Easy. Okay. And for the first couple of days. In fact, I think this would be an energy or an influence that would see us easily through the new moon. Okay. Into the beginning of October. So as guidance for
That's with the
Saltines.
solar eclipse
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Ooh.
And so yeah, there's a whole lot of crazy energy aligning right there around those few days with the eclipse as well. And
Like
so
a force of discipline through
mhm, yeah.
the eclipse.
I will say I had no idea about any of this. And the fact that the exercise that I took us through was
You're on the
basically
road. You have
like
to
you're on the
walk it.
road, you have to walk it, you got to do the
Yeah.
things,
Uh-huh.
and you're not the only person there, but it's still your work you have to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So don't be afraid to
Exactly.
ask for help, most definitely.
Yeah.
Your companions, in my deck that I used to help structure this was they were the Lampades. Um, they don't feel ashamed to ask for help. Instead, ask for help, but you have to take the initiative.
Yeah.
The feeling I'm getting is almost like body doubling for people with ADHD, where I'm going to do the thing, but I need you to be there with me while I do it. So there you go. Interesting how I
It
keep
does
that.
interweave.
Yeah, it
It's
does.
so cool.
I am
So yeah.
not.
So as general
Oh,
guidance,
and
as general guidance, I just want to tell people to keep that in mind. At least over the next week and a half, you're gonna need, if there's something you really want, even if it's something that you feel like you deserve this, even from past effort, like you've gotten to a point where you're like, I deserve this, I've earned this. Like you're still going to need to show up and really plead your case. Like you're still going to need to show up and potentially do a little bit of extra work before anybody's really going to be able to really is going to feel good about handing you that thing. Is it fair? Probably not. But it is
Mars
what it
is
is.
not the most fair.
And Mars, fortunately, is
Discipline's good, but-
shifting out of that orientation.
Okay.
Within, I think, actually, we start to kind of see that shift really happening around the 26th of September. So really, within just a couple of days, we really start to kind of see the
That it starts
beginning
to
of that
relax.
energy softening.
Okay.
The good thing about that, and one of the things that will really help us the most, is the harmonizing energy of the moon. When we looked at that triangulation on our last episode between Mars, Mercury, and Earth, the moon was doing this weird thing in its orbit of Earth where it was kind of like moving around.
It was like, I don't
It
want to
was
do
kind of
that.
like going around the underside of Earth in its orbit, which happens as all our planets kind of are constantly spinning and shifting on their in their own orbits. But now it's kind of moved back to a point where it's kind of moving in kind of more of a, I don't want to say in a horizontal kind of an orbit around Earth, but it is now, as of the 26th, it is now kind of moving back in a more horizontally aligned orbit
Like
around
more
Earth.
weaving.
Yeah.
More
and
weaving into
yeah.
Earth.
And so as of the 26th, we're going to start seeing the moon in its daily orbit around the planet interfering or coming between Mars in its orientation or in its direct alignment in our solar system with Earth. So it'll soften those martial energies
That's good.
coming in. That's what the moon does, is it harmonizes, or basically it takes the energies directed from a particular planet and it balances them or aligns them to their most ideal state.
I love that.
But with the eclipse coming up, that is also going to be all kinds of fucked up, because
Very
during the
unknown.
day of the eclipse, with that kind of eclipse energies, this is why I always love when people are like, oh, eclipse days are such powerful days for spiritual work. And it's like, probably the fuck not. Because eclipses are, the energy around an eclipse is so chaotic. And you can do really effective spiritual work on an eclipse.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I couldn't do a spell on that.
Exactly. Well, and to be honest, you could do really effective magical work on an eclipse too. You just have to accept going into that spell that the results that you're going to get, those results could come about. I mean, you might get absolutely what you want, but the way that spell is going to materialize, the way that you're going to get from point A to point Z, is going to be all over the place, because eclipses are so chaotic in the way that they just mess with the energies, the ambient energies of us, of our world, of the energies of just the neighboring planets, right? I mean, we're talking about the sun, right? The sun is the most powerful energetic influence in our solar system, right? I mean, beyond gravity, perhaps, but then the sun is an influence of gravity,
Yeah,
right?
we don't even fully understand
So
gravity. over there.
exactly. So yeah, so you have to be so careful with eclipse energies. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about that a little bit.
So book a Reiki session with me.
Yes.
There you go. Yes, because Reiki makes everything better.
Book a Reiki session with me. I can do distance. I can do in person. Maybe I'll add you to my Reiki box or my Reiki
Very
grid,
good.
but that'll help lubricate those energies.
There
a
you,
little
there you
better.
go. I also wanted to talk about the glyph
Lubrication.
conjunctio, and I just realized with the projects I got up to today, I did not draw a glyph for conjunctio. Oh, I'm so bad. I feel bad.
Oh, here,
So-
I'll draw one.
So it's 2 dots, 1 dot, 1 dot, 2 dots.
Did you put it on your threads?
I did put it on the shop threads.
Okay, then I will just go to shop threads and just pull that up.
Oh, I'm out of water. There's a little graphic there. Yeah. So 2 dots, 1 dot, 1 dot, 2 dot. So conjunctio is an interesting glyph, particularly since we talked quite a bit about conjunctions happening planetarily. There you go.
It's like someone standing with their legs spread and their arms up.
Basically, yeah. It's like the village people doing YMCA, only they stopped at Y. No, they just stopped at Y.
Yeah.
They just stopped at Y. If you just stop at Y, they can't sue us.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's funny that seeing that conjunctio popped up because we even just Mia just now was talking about like conjunctions are happening all the time, right? There's some coming up in the next little while. And conjunctio doesn't speak specifically to the conjunctions of planets necessarily. It really typically is a glyph or a sign of moments of unity or union in our lives. And so as a kind of an energy for at least the next week or so, what we're typically seeing with that glyph is we're seeing this just being a really powerful time for new partnerships or for the rekindling of partnerships. This is typically a good omen for romance. For the strengthening of friendships and also an interesting time for the reclaiming of lost objects. So
St. Anthony.
So there you go, right? So now those are all really good energies or good alignments to be working on, at least for the next few days, until we get to the eclipse on the 2nd of October. And then do as you will. So yeah. So some very interesting things I think are kind of coming into alignment. Yeah.
So some
Powerful stuff.
some magical work that I think that can help during this time without going into like the eclipse.
Did you say eclipse?
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 Eclipse. Anyway, so some magical work you can do is do some good spiritual cleansings. Getting some of that chaotic energy that you're carrying or that stagnant energy, getting some of that out so that way the change and the harmonization can happen more effectively. That would be really, really good. One of my favorites is a hyssop bath. For those of you who do not know, hyssop is a very powerful and very potent spiritual purifier.
It's biblical.
It is biblically
sacred.
It is biblically accurate that it cleanses. But yeah, just a handful of hyssop or a couple tablespoons in some water, a splash of your favorite spiritual water, like Florida water. If you want, you can add some cascarilla, or eggshell powder, whatever that is.
I wouldn't put that in a bath. Oh God, that feels so weird on your skin.
I wouldn't.
The cascarilla,
I would do that. I would put it as like a paste around my door though. I don't want it on my skin.
You could do that. I mean, traditionally what you would do is you would anyway, so without getting that, but some good spiritual cleansing baths, uncrossing work or spiritual cleansing candles, some good smoke cleansing could be good. So you can utilize all those elements in that.
We've talked about cleansing. So, but we've talked about the eclipse coming up here in just a little over a week, or actually actually about a week. What would you say to our saltines around like centering and grounding? Because those could be really important practices.
Both of you guys are coming together and saying, could you use both of those into like
upping your
spiritually polishing?
Yes.
Like
upping your spiritual
because
hygiene.
we're cleaning, but not just to get rid of. Are we cleaning to refine
spiritual
and center?
Exfoliation and toning.
Okay. Yes. The hyaluronic acid of magic.
Of witchcraft.
So
But
centering and grounding, what would you say? Sorry.
yes, centering and grounding, I would agree with that. You should be doing that regularly anyway, but I would say take extra time the next few days to actually do a sit and focus like I'm going to do this more intensely, more intentionally. Because I know that once you've gotten that practice underhand and kind of like within your grasp, most of the time what you end up doing is you're just like, oh yeah, I need to ground and I need to center, and you'll kind of sit and breathe and boom, you're good. So sorry. But
OERP, I just did it right now. I'm just kidding.
I felt it.
Just did it.
But stuff like that is going to be really good to help that. Now, during the eclipse, or maybe like the day before, day of, and day after, allow yourself some grace. And again, just focus on some good grounding and centering work. That's going to really help you get some better magical results afterwards. Some other stuff that I'm getting told by my spirits that would be good, just for our listeners, is doing some road opener work as well. Tomorrow would actually be a good day for that. Wednesday, the 25th, would be a great day. Moon is waning.
Good to help with that, to open up the avenues of the Jupiter energy while Mars is kind of straining that a little bit.
Exactly. So doing some clearing work, opening up some roads, and focusing on tidying that energy up. So that way, when we get to a point where we can call more things in more effectively, you have a good, clean, steady foundation. You've put a new layer of primer on the wall. Okay. So yeah.
Love.
That's our normal stuff that we talk about. So
Beautiful.
let's get into.
Yeah, I have some stuff, but actually,
Okay.
I'm really interested first in hearing from Mia on something. Speaking of centering and grounding, which from the sound of what I want to talk about and the sound of what Mia wants to talk about,
It does kind of have that theme.
people need to be fucking centering and grounding a hell of a lot more. So
And
Mia,
being mindful, you guys, saltines, and those you love, being mindful of where you are grounding your feet to.
mhm.
Because I was up later last night and I was checking my TikTok to clear the notification thing that comes up, 'cause I don't like the little red dot. Anyways, and I found out, oh no, it was, I was doing that and I saw something about reality shifting, and that was my trigger. But prior to that, I was on my YouTube, my beautiful, well curated YouTube algorithm. I am very mindful of what things I hit like on, so I get those streams of those. Anyways, so I get this video recommended to me about destiny swapping. Now, if you saw the TikTok video that I unintentionally, I thought I deleted it earlier today. I guess I have to leave it up now.
At Tiramisu.
Well, you don't have to.
Well, I mean, I'm just, I figured now there was 38
Well, it's
people
going
liked
viral.
it, so
Let it happen. Let it be viral.
yeah, viral.
People
30,
need to
33
hear
likes.
what you have to say.
I was pissed. It was 2 a.m. and I was like, okay, I just watched a 45-minute video essay on this destiny swapping idea. Okay, so this sweet little 20-year-old, she thinks she's really figured shit out. She's like, okay, I have a destiny and other people around me, they're trying to swap it with me. What's my proof? Fucking Kendrick reality swap or destiny swapped with Drake. And so Kendrick is actually a vampire that took Drake's destiny. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? You fucking kidding me? No.
That sounds like
It's-
spiritual psychosis.
That sounds like spiritual psychosis.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
can't, like, Drake fans, get out of my chat. Get out of my fucking chat. I don't fuck with Drake fans, okay? Get out of here. There's some bops and boops, but like the fans,
Should we wait?
don't fuck with me.
Here, let's give him a
Okay,
moment.
sorry.
Okay.
Get out of the chat. Oh, one just slammed the door. Okay, so
You don't slam doors in this house, okay?
it's fine. So then they're talking about that. So that's one male example, but prior to that, most of these examples that we are seeing, or that I was seeing, was girl on girl, like pitting women against each other, that there's only one bag that you can get if you're friends on a same path. So for instance, they're saying Lady Gaga, Destiny swapped with Lena Morgana, God rest her soul, Hecate rest her soul. Okay. Uh her ooh, that one pisses me off because I know that Lady Gaga is an Aries. So if her best friend had just died and she is under that exec or whatever that record company, she was working with her best friend and she died, her best friend dies weirdly as fuck. Okay. She Aries that shit and she goes, no, I'm gonna take up the torch for the both of us and I'm gonna shine bright as a motherfucker for the both of us. That's my fucking opinion, just based on her being an Aries, and I'm just as uneducated as these little ass kids anyway. But because I don't know what happened. None of us know what happened. We don't know. But they're saying that this is a conspiracy theory and this is something we can ground our reality into, that we have a destiny and others are trying to swap it from us. They're trying to take it from us and that these people are conscious of doing so. Second off, which is no, that's not how psychology works. Unless you're a sociopath, you pick out the sociopaths, that's why nobody likes them. Look, they make themselves kind of known after a while.
Yeah,
And
they
then
do.
you fucking get rid of them.
Yeah.
Okay. But my worst one though, the worst one, you seen already my TikTok, is when they were trying to say they that they're trying to say that Beyonce Destiny swapped with Aaliyah. And so these kids right off the bat, they don't know, they don't have any context of time outside of TikTok time. When did TikTok start? That's when it's like we have before TikTok era and after TikTok era. That literally tells me them being able to say that on Beyonce's name and Aaliyah's name, God rest her soul, Hecate rest her soul, that fucking what the fuck? Like they weren't old enough to see them, that they were growing up together. They were best friends. And Beyonce was already, she had been dreaming about hitting stardom from the littlest she was. Her mom was making her costumes, making costumes for the whole Destiny's Child. Okay. So do not say that. I don't care how rich she is and out of touch she may or may not be. I don't care. We don't know these people. These are human goddamn beings. And if the internet falls and money falls, we're all gonna be on this earth fucking together. Okay. So let's just learn how to treat people, even if we don't think they're like real. Even if, like me, I look at celebrities as archetypes. I do, because I'm never gonna meet these people, and they just represent little archetypes in the back of my mind. It's like, oh, that's cool. You know, they represent that.
What
It's neat.
archetype celebrity am I?
I don't do it for
you're not-
poor people.
You're not a
I'm just-
celebrity.
like,
Oh, me and I both
you-
wanted to say this. We're like, bitch, you're not a
like,
celebrity.
no. I mean, you're my celebrity. So like, you're the archetype of the brother though. Like you're,
Oh.
that's what I mean. So it's like, no, like, how are these people playing out in their own little thing and interesting little things? Like we all watch the beef going on in music and we all watch it. It's because we're entertained by how these archetypes intertwine. It's not that we would really, hopefully, not wish harm on any of these people, but it's the archetype of Drake. I don't fucking like that shit. It's the archetype of him. I have not met him personally. I have not been victimized personally by him, but I don't like what he represents.
Mhm.
Okay. So, anyways, got off on a tangent, but fucking destiny swapping, you guys, what the fuck? So, 20-year-olds out there, please be mindful of where you are placing your sphere of reality that you want to stand on. Do you want that to be a little ball of, oh, my best friend who got her, I got my hair color streak in my hair blue, and then she got a hair color streak. She was copying me, and so she's trying to destiny swap me, and she dated my boyfriend after I dumped him. Like,
Mhm.
what are we doing here, guys?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
That is a lot of perpetuating of fear and making
Fear, scarcity,
like,
misogyny.
Literally paranoia. Everyone's out to get me.
And
I'm sorry to tell you. I'm not sorry to tell you. You
Tell 'em.
are not that special. You are not that special. I don't care what your mommy or your daddy or your auntie or your uncle or your zays or your zems or the these or the theys or the he's or the she's or the gays or the lesbians. I don't care who told you you're super special, that someone wants your life and your destiny. You aren't. You just aren't.
But also, you are that special. Just don't make it other people's problem.
You're not that special.
I believe you are that special, but you need to not make it a
I
problem.
believe that you are a special person within your own self.
Yeah, that's
But
what I mean.
that doesn't mean that because someone got their hair color the same as yours, that they want to be you and they're trying to
She's
steal your
trying to
destiny.
suck your life force.
Instead, maybe you should go, oh my God, that's a compliment. It looks good on me. That, or maybe they evil eyed you because like I can pull that off better, and then just
Maybe,
do
but
it all
that's
back.
that's not the evil eye is not destiny swapping.
No.
Okay. And another thing too is these new little catchphrases that are becoming popular, such as destiny swapping, reality shifting. I'm telling you, kids, it's going to lead you down it's going to open up a whole new doorway of shit that if you already don't understand the shit pile that you're stepping into with destiny swapping, before you know it, you become a crazy QAnon motherfucker.
Yep.
Okay? Like I've seen this because in a 2007 version, I was one of those people. I subscribed to all kinds of conspiracy theories because I was trying to make sense of my trauma. So I was stepping in this shit pile and I'm like, well, it's kind of warm. I guess it makes sense. And then let me stand on this shit pile. Okay, well, that one kind of smells like that shit pile. So I guess we go here. Okay. But I can only see that in hindsight. And so now I'm like begging you guys, if you're gonna blame, this is in my little video, if you're gonna blame occult practices and occult reasons for a thing, a thing that, the Illuminati, maybe we all are in the Illuminati, guys, because we did the triangle.
Maybe.
Okay. So
even though this is called the triangle manifestation, but whatever.
people are just doing their own
This is also
thing.
the sun mudra, but whatever.
It's not, yeah, they don't, but see, that's the thing is they don't want to learn the older histories, the older traditions, the source material. If you're going to follow the lore, you're going to do this weird side fanfic version of read the original lore, or else you're not going to know what the fuck is going on. Does that make sense? I'm yelling. Oh.
No, you're good. You're good.
Oh.
You're animated. You're not yelling. You're good. You're just
Okay.
animated. You're good.
I'm animated.
This is good talk.
You're
because
Marsing right now.
Yeah.
This is an
That's
important
okay.
conversation to be
We
having.
love it.
I'm
think if-
very
yeah.
passionate about it because I had to dig out of that shit pile or version of it that I see on a masser, like a way more mass scale than 2007. Okay. So, be careful out there, and you're not reality shifting. You're daydreaming and you're thinking about your hopes and dreams, and it doesn't mean that you're popping out of reality. Okay, did I make enough sense
No,
where
you
I
did.
can breathe?
You
Okay.
did. No, and I think it's a good conversation.
Don't
to have.
talk about fucking Aaliyah like
Yeah.
that. Don't fucking
Yeah, it bothers me when you got 20-year-olds doing that shit because they weren't even alive when all that crap went down.
they weren't in love with her music. Like
yeah.
what figure were they in love with? What
Exactly.
archetype of celebrity that they
Yeah.
love? Like you don't fucking do that.
I think it's an important conversation to have, whether it be about those particular pieces or not. That the tone of that conversation is important because there aren't enough people in the spiritual community talking about those things honestly, because it's one, if you are a spiritual influencer of any level of popularity on any kind of platform, more often than not, you're not talking about these things because one, it's not popular.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's uncomfortable.
And people don't want the truth. They want to believe the bullshit lies because the lies are pretty.
And then
as,
they're like,
and as a
ooh,
spiritual
we're-
influencer, you don't, more often than not, you don't want to give people the truth and you don't want to have the uncomfortable conversations because you're not getting clicks. You're also not making sales.
Yeah.
So these are not conversations that are had very often, and unfortunately, a big problem behind that is that there are just a lot of really shady and unethical people out there in the spiritual community, but there are also a lot of very young and impressionable people
Yeah.
trying to break into the spiritual community.
The video I'm referencing that y'all see on YouTube about what is destiny swapping, this is a very young child who, like, she, in my opinion, she doesn't know yet. So be nice if you find the video. She doesn't have a bad heart, I don't think. She's just very fucking young. If it was an unethical person, then I would be saying their fucking name.
Yeah.
Always remember, you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar.
What?
But also,
What does that have to do with this?
it's about being nice to each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, cause I was being nice about,
Yeah.
like, I don't want to be mean about this little girl.
Educate through compassion, kindness, wisdom, strength, justice, temperance, all that great stuff. Okay.
So yeah, I know that was leaning into what you were bringing.
Well, I have a few things I want to talk about, and most of these things are gonna, and it's so weird because I'm looking at this list of things, and and we talked like when we our first episode when we kind of got started again was like, we're going to keep this positive, and so I really do want to kind of focus on a constructive way to present this information, and so to our saltines, please understand that though we're talking about things and we can seem very impassioned. We're very impassioned, and we can get, we're obviously a little heated when we talk about these things. We're not doing this because we're trying to be nasty, negative people. We're really just trying to present information, and
yourself in the midst of these behaviors. Talk to someone.
Yeah,
talk to us if
yeah.
you know us, or talk to your local community somewhere. Talk to your therapist.
Yeah, but I wanted to talk about a few of the things that I've seen, again, kind of in social media spheres around like witchcraft, paganism, and the occult community. In just, well, since we recorded our last episode, it's really only been in just the last couple of weeks. And things that I'm hearing not only in those spaces, but also just some interactions that I've had with people in the shop and some clients and students that I've had conversations with. The one of the ones that I wanted to talk, and again, I've got just a little bit of the list here. Some of these we've actually talked on the podcast before, and I'm going to go there again because these are things that just don't die, and I don't know why they won't die.
Maybe
Anyway,
you can help us genuinely figure it out.
Yeah, maybe you can help us like turn the tide against some of this bullshit. Anyway, but the one that I wanted to talk about, and I really don't feel a need to go into this to too much of an extent, but Techno Paganism.
Hell yeah. No, what?
I'm not hating on it. I'm not hating on it. The reason I wanted to talk about this is there's this thing going on now where you've got like from the sound of it, like this same young person that was talking about destiny shaping, destiny swapping.
Yeah.
Right. You've got all of these like witchy nublets. And like these baby occultists now, they're like, well, I'm a techno pagan, and it's this cool new thing, right? And, it reminded me. They think it's a new thing, and it reminded me of like, okay, the show Stranger Things. Okay, like the last season when it came out, and that Kate Bush song "Running Up that Hill" from there, and all there was like a whole generation, like all those millennials were like, "Oh my god, I love this song!" And they all thought it was a new song, and all the rest of us were like, "This song's been around since like oh my god, this song is like 40 years old."
Shout out to the placebo.
There you go. Right. Anyway, so it reminded me of that moment where I'm like, oh my god, yeah, just do a little bit of research.
Yeah, just a little.
Just do a little bit of research.
Excited,
and I have no problem with you guys saying I'm a techno pagan. It's like, of course you are, sweetie. At this point, we all are, because most of us are learning from the internet. We're all techno pagans now, whether we want to be or not. Right? That's technology is just a huge component of what we're doing. This podcast, where we are relaying information to you.
Oh my god,
on magic.
This is Techno Paganism.
It's a grimoire. It's a digital grimoire.
This is Techno Paganism.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is a digital grimoire.
I was always stoked about it.
And so everything that we do now, in some sense, Techno Paganism.
They thought it's new.
So that was the laugh I had. I was like, they're like, well, so the thing is like what I was seeing things online is like there were other like older generational practitioners that were like like you guys are being really cute about this, but like this
Yeah.
is something that's been around for a really long time.
Yeah.
Like since technology was like a thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
You didn't
like
build the
yeah,
internet.
like yeah, since computers existed, since the internet existed, like this is, and you had all these young people that are like, we just don't understand why you older generational practitioners won't just let us have this. And it's like,
because it's already been around.
it's like it's
we can help you engage in it. We
Yeah,
can
it's
help
like
you
it's
literally
yeah, it's like it's
engage
not
in
a
it.
matter of letting you have this. It's a matter of like it can't just be yours because
It
it
already
wasn't just
started.
yours to begin
Well,
with.
also they come at it. A lot of the young folks.
The
And I
young
know, and just to be clear,
and-
I'm not trying to shit on younger generational practitioners. Okay, that's not the point of what I'm
No,
saying.
but
Something-
they come at it with a lot of ego.
just like our
Arrogance.
generation, we came at it with a lot of emo shit. Like I don't know, but like Pluto and Scorpio generation, we came at shit. That was our thing, was like we came at shit like where the adage became it's not that deep, but while we were growing up, like everything was that deep.
Everything.
Okay. And then now this new generation is like it's a whole audacity thing, like that Pluto and Sagittarius generation.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think it's related to that.
It is.
the
It is.
Pluto
It's.
shit.
There's audacity. There's a sense of entitlement. There is, and they also when you find yourselves in a moment where and I've got a couple other points that are going to kind of move into this territory as well here. When you find yourself in a moment where you're on the opposite end of that conversation with like one of these people where they're like why can't you just let us have this? Why do you have to pick on us? Like they're immediately lining up like you're not a victim in this situation. Like the fact that you're behaving like this proves to me that one, not only are you not educated about this because this has been around for about 50 years, but also you're being a real asshole right now.
Yeah.
Because you set yourself up to be a victim when all I was trying to do is tell you like this isn't really a new
I
thing.
don't know if they know
You know,
when they do
and I
victim
fully
shit.
I don't think they do
Sometimes
either.
I don't
I
know.
don't think they do either. And it's like, and there's a part of it's like, we all fully support you being a techno pagan and identifying as a techno pagan. Like, that's amazing. Go for it.
I can show all
Right?
these kids all the little secret tricks of
I mean-
dressing like a dope ass new metal kid.
We're moving into, in some sense, we're moving into an age of Aquarius.
Yeah.
Right. So like the next generation or two of practitioners is you're all going to be techno pagans. You're all going to be born with like, yeah.
What you
So
Emoji spell.
you know, exactly. So, you
Yeah.
know, so,
Which I
so,
did cast an emoji.
I have done that. I'm not gonna lie.
so it's
Shout out to
it's
emojis.
an amazing thing, but I thought that was so funny. And I guess, you know, really what it comes down to is I don't understand why everything has to be so inflammatory.
Like, and why
Like,
they
why
feel
it's
like they
so
need to
hard.
grab, they need to.
Yes. Like, why can't you just let us have this? Why do you have to pick
Like,
on us? And it's like,
we were just telling
like,
you where it started.
nobody's picking on you. We were just trying to educate you a little bit because clearly you're not willing to educate yourselves.
Yeah.
You just latched onto a title
Gatekeeper.
and proclaimed that now this is who you are.
Gatekeeping.
Absolutely,
what?
I
Yeah,
fucking am.
honestly,
Yes, I
yeah.
fucking
We need
am.
more gatekeepers.
Yes,
I'm
I
sorry,
fucking
just
am.
said it.
That's gonna take me to the next
said it.
point. Okay.
I believe
And
it.
somebody threw this at me this week, and I'll go into kind of like I'll elaborate on this story a little bit. Okay. But to all of my saltine friends, okay. Whether you're a friend, I don't know. I have the feeling at
There
this
might be
point,
hate watchers
I
too.
think, yeah. And if you're a hate watcher, this is for you. This is for
If
you.
you're a hate watcher,
Uh,
yum, 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 yum,
yes.
yum. Thank you for feeding
yes.
the Everglow
Yes.
salty witches.
If you love us, then we love you too. If you don't love us, then we'll still love you. If you hate us, then find something better to do with your time.
Yeah.
Thank you for the free rent in your
Um,
head though,
yeah.
and on your computer.
Anyway, but no,
And
like,
bandwidth.
so this week I'm recently introduced to Threads, right? I've been posting Threads, I think, for 3 weeks now. And I'll go into the rest of the story here in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I like Threads.
Anyway, I posted something on Threads and I had somebody purely with the intent of education.
Yeah.
And I had somebody come back with that stereotypical, why don't you just let people do things the way they want to comment?
Well, they could have just scrolled. They could have just. Why did they
Well,
police you?
one, I wasn't trying to police anybody.
Yeah.
Two, obviously, I'm letting people do things the way they want to.
You're just
I'm
making a comment. on the
Just
fucking internet.
trying to provide an alternative perspective on something because what you're doing isn't necessarily gonna work for everyone else.
Yeah.
because
It's a place for
obviously it
everybody.
didn't work for me, which is why I felt the need to comment anything on it. Right.
It was like a
So,
particular type of
so
spellcasting
well,
or something.
I'll explain in just a sec
Okay.
what the situation was. But this whole thing with like, why don't you just let people do what they want to do? It's like, do you realize how stupid you sound? I don't think people do. Like, people sound so stupid when they say, "Let people do what they want to do." It's like, people, trust me, people are doing exactly what the fuck
Yeah.
they want to do.
People do one of my favorite YouTubers, she's a new YouTuber. She makes hip hop commentary and she does strategist, like she's a professional strategist. It's abso-fucking-lutely. But she goes, people do time and time again, people do what works for them.
Yeah.
They will do that regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Exactly.
yeah,
You know,
it's
and
true.
there's a part of me that's like, that's amazing. If it works for you, wonderful. But if you're gonna like take what you're doing and put it out there on the internet, like this is how I do it, and this is what works for me, and so automatically it works for everyone else.
Yeah, very
And
authoritative.
and you should do this too. And and not only one is that one not true, because something that doesn't work for you, or what something just because it works for you doesn't mean it's gonna work for everybody else. One, two, what you're doing is also something that kind of flies in the face of how that thing has been done traditionally for like centuries.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's kind of your own personal gnosis. Like this is how I've kind of developed this own way of it, which is amazing. Like if you've
Yeah, but
developed
you
your
need
own way
to
of doing
tell
something,
that.
like then you need to be honest about that. And you need to say, like, I came up with this system. Like this is how I do this. This is my personal process. This is my thing. Right. You need to be upfront about that and not present this information like, well, this is how everybody does it. Right. And this works for everybody.
Yeah.
Right. And so in going out there and trying to present an alternative perspective and trying to say, well, actually, there is value in not doing it this way because, and then getting this full, and then when do you just let people do what they want to do? Or when do you just let people, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay.
Ew.
And so I'm so sick of that shit. The next time somebody honestly comes at me with that shit on the internet, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Well, the unspoken rule on Threads
Mhm.
since the exodus of Twitter,
Mhm.
what all of the people on Threads who were like, we deemed what's called hope scrolling or
Okay.
joy scrolling,
Uh-huh.
where you just like have nothing but like cool information and like cat videos.
Okay.
Okay. If someone is saying some nasty shit, like we're getting out of the era of Twitter.
Yeah.
Like we're
That's
getting
that's
so
why I
it's
set up a Threads account.
hide comment from all. This goes for saltines. In Threads, it has an option to delete comment or hide comment from everyone,
Oh.
and then block a bitch. We can literally edit our own Twitter. We get our own new Twitter, which means,
Oh.
yes, there will be people who censor stuff, but then it means that you can curate your own fucking algorithm better, So
Well,
it's better for your
just
mental
thought-
health.
I went in and I deleted the post that I made.
No, delete them.
Well, so no, so what I did, well, I went and I deleted it because it just basically, okay, so what I did, okay, is somebody went in, okay, what started this, okay, is I put a post in Threads, talking about just my personal belief. Okay, I was responding to a post and I didn't call anybody out, and I didn't say that like the way that this person, this other
Just typing like a thought that
like
it
this
made
other
you happy.
tarologist, like was this other tarot card reader.
Yeah.
Like I didn't say like, oh, this person's wrong, or like it wasn't anything, like it wasn't a personal attack.
Mhm.
It was just kind of an observation on something that they were doing, or something they were promoting, right? And they weren't even on Threads, they were on Instagram, right?
Okay.
And so I was talking, and they had put some information out there basically saying like they were pushing this kind of information on how to specifically shuffle your tarot deck to make sure that you never
Classic.
got reversed cards, like ever got reversed cards.
Okay.
And so there was a part of me that's like, have we really gotten to a point where we're so afraid of seeing a reversed card fall? Like, one,
Right.
it's not that hard just to flip that fucker over,
Right.
right? Two, like,
there's some
and so there's a part of me that's like, and so I commented in there, I'm like, this almost seems like you're like what, like you're stacking the deck, or you're like, or you're thumbing your nose at the fates at this point by doing shit like
Oh,
this, you know? And I didn't say this specifically to the creator.
right.
Like this was just my mental
Oh,
process,
okay.
you know? And you know, and so
They really hate us.
no, not at all.
They
No,
really
no.
hate us
No,
for
it's not. No, it's not
reversing.
about that. No, it's not about that at all. No. Anyway,
Okay,
but
I'm just gonna say this. There's a difference between people who don't read reversals as their reversed meanings and people who unreverse the cards because I need to see the fucking image so I can fucking read it clearly.
Yeah.
And I'm still gonna say if it's ill-dignified
Yeah, you
or
just
in
gotta do
shadow
this.
or reversed or whatever. I'm still gonna say, the energy of this card though, and given the situation, the cards around it, like, yeah, no, this is giving some reversal blockage energy.
I think the challenge I have with the school, because people, again, like we were just talking about,
Mhm.
people are always going to do what works for them,
Right.
Exactly.
which is fine. I totally support that.
But they
Uh,
were trying to say that
the challenge
we
I
did
have,
this.
it wasn't so much they were saying you should do this or like you need to do this,
Okay.
but I think what it is for me is it's like there's so much of that out there.
Yes.
Like, and it's so much of this, like, this is how you can make this easier. This is how you
Yeah.
can make this easier. This is how you know, like, and there's a part of me that's like, okay, you know, you can only make something easier so much before you're really not working on it at all.
Yeah.
Well,
You know, and so
you're
there's
avoiding
that
some-
piece.
And it builds superstitions. I see
Well,
what
there's
you're-
that, but
Yeah.
also, well, so and there's the superstitious element, but
Mhm.
there also is, it's been my experience, and this is really what I think the issue I have with people who refuse to read reversed cards, okay, is historically, it's been my experience, most of the tarot card readers, I'll say most, because there is an exception, absolutely, okay, but most of the other tarot card readers I've met who refuse to read tarot cards, who learned to read tarot without looking or at least acknowledging reversed cards,
Mhm.
or have learned from teachers who teach like, oh, we don't read reverse cards, right? Is those people are more often than not, they're the ones that go into their readings and their interpretations are extremely superficial.
Yeah.
They're
We do see
extremely
it.
superficial.
We do see it.
They spiritually bypass. These are the readers who will throw down the Knight of Swords or the Nine of Swords and go, everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like,
there are people who remove the suit of swords entirely from the deck, and there are also people who remove
I know, as the
the
death
Edgar
card, the
Arcana.
Tower, the
Yeah.
Devil,
Yeah.
you know, I
And
know.
if you
Well-
want that, just get some Doreen Virtue
Some-
cards, okay?
But I mean, there's a time and place. Like I can understand some, like if you're going to like a baby shower, like I personally
Oh,
wouldn't.
yeah,
So you're going to a
yeah.
baby shower, you can take out the Death in the Tower card, like you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
just
Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's your tarot deck. You do
Yeah.
whatever
It's also
the-
bad luck to
you-
read without a full
you
deck.
do whatever the fuck you
Is
want,
it?
right?
Yeah.
I think it is too, but
Yeah.
like I don't know if bad luck, but yeah, we all have our little superstitions, our little sacred practices with tarot. And I think you're seeing is like people are allowing themselves the full
They're not getting the full
experience.
story of the
They're not
tarot.
getting the
Yeah.
full story. They are
Exactly.
bypassing these shadowy
Yeah.
aspects or maybe more nuanced good aspects that they aren't thinking of.
Well, and I think part of it is also maybe it's a little bit of it's either a cultural thing, maybe it's a generational thing, because I also know for sure, I think it's a cultural thing because I think that, okay, so when you edit your deck, when you either don't read
shuffle in
when you
reversals.
when you don't read reversals, when you cut cards out of the deck, there are a lot of people. I'm speaking for myself, but I know I'm not the only one. Okay, when I talk about this having a cultural significance, okay, like I know there are a lot of other people who think this same way or believe the same way. When you do that, there is a belief that the tarot is not only something that can be utilized as a means of looking at potential, but that the tarot is also a tool that can be utilized almost as like a handshake with fate.
Mhm.
Like these are the cards that have fallen. This is what I agree will now be. Right.
Yeah.
And so when you cut cards, when you remove cards from your deck, even if they're cards you don't ever want to see,
Yeah.
right? What happens is you have then stacked the deck in an odd
Mhm.
way, which means that the deck is never really going to read properly anymore.
Mhm.
Because even if that death card was removed, like that death card might have been a card that was meant to fall, maybe not as an outcome, but maybe as an indication of a step toward an outcome,
Right.
right? That death card could have been the like, this is the rich relative that's going to die. Not that the death card typically means a literal death,
Yeah.
but like it just as an example, like that
Yeah.
death card could fall and be interpreted as this is a death in the family of a rich relative that is going to leave you a huge chunk of money,
Mhm.
right? This is your road toward it, like an actual material monetary inheritance.
If they don't
right?
see that,
And
maybe they
the-
decide to do a
and
move
the
and then
death
they
card
don't.
is removed completely, right? And what happens in that moment is you're basically saying like my middle road, like the middle step from where I'm at to that inheritance has now been completely removed.
Yeah.
Right. And I will choose a different path because I didn't have insight into this middle piece. I didn't have the ability to work with fate through this, even though it was maybe an unfortunate circumstance. Nobody wants to see a death in the family, right? But everybody loves to see an inheritance, right? So there's that kind of that belief behind these kinds of things when people play with their tarot decks, when people do weird things with their tarot decks. And I know I'm old school and I'm grumpy
No,
about
I
the
don't think that's
reversals.
old school. I
Um,
think that's part of a sacred tradition. I think that in itself, like you're explaining, like this is how tarot is used for you as a sacred tool of magic.
Okay.
And I don't think everyone looks at tarot
I
that
know.
full way.
Yeah, they don't. I can't put that same thing on other people.
I'm just gonna say, tarot is tarot, and you should just fucking read tarot the way tarot is meant to be read.
But how is tarot meant to be read, right?
You shuffle the cards, you pull the
Thoughts,
cards.
baboon.
What?
Oh no, I was expecting myself to just be in the background, just like Thoth's baboon is like the idea of like the wisdom that Thoth, himself or Metatron or like the great wise angel or of whatever culture you believe is like speaking these wisdoms down to you
Okay.
from the heavens and he sends his baboon, his friendly baboon to tell you, and maybe the baboon omits a few words or changes a line of the wisdom, but you end up getting to a different kind of like part of the knowledge.
Mhm.
So
I'm just gonna say this.
sorry.
It's my
No,
opinion
you're
that
good. You're good.
it's my opinion that if you're going to learn a divination modality or any form of modality, learn how to do it the traditional way. Then from there, make your adjustments as the practitioner, as the diviner. If you are divining and you are getting the information across, that's what fucking matters.
I don't think enough people agree on the traditional of tarot.
Yeah. I was just gonna say the same thing.
Like I was raised in a certain traditional belief of
Mhm.
tarot that I then later found like historically is inaccurate.
Yeah.
And so what is the traditional way of reading tarot? Is it the way that I read tarot esoterically? Is it just reading it like the Marseille style, where you're going off of numerology and placement and those intricacies with that line art? Like, is it like what is? I don't think enough people see that, but the fact that you couldn't make an observation of just expression on the internet where you were just saying, hey, like when you edit, if you edit too much of how you do the thing won't flow.
Mhm.
And I think that's a big point that these kids are, trying to edit certain things and get things down to the 2-minute structure. You can't necessarily, it's maybe you can fucking figure out a way to do that with tarot, but like it's good to learn just mix them together and fold it, get your soul into it and maybe see what happens. And then if you still don't want to read reversals, let them flip over, but maybe subconsciously the fact that you saw it reverse, you're like, I get a little vibe that this is more shadowy. Maybe you're holding yourself back from being able to use the tool fully because you are constraining it to only read upright. So then you always flip the right side and do it. But yeah, you don't want to edit your experience so much before you've even explored, because most of that media and most of those little videos are targeted towards very young people first getting into this.
Yeah.
Or just people straight up like my age or older, but this is their first time doing this. So then maybe they're never gonna allow themselves to have a reverse card. So then maybe when they accidentally do see a reverse card, maybe they think it's the fucking end of the world. You know, and so I think, like, do you think maybe you were trying to just make sure that that point was across?
I think the whole point I really was trying to make was basically just like, you can read your tarot however you want to, right? But I think that you need to look very carefully at how you start to actually mess with the deck. Like, yeah,
Force it how to talk.
yeah, because because like I said, because I'm with you, like with the history that we have of the tarot, I don't believe that there's one traditional way to read the tarot.
But there are many sacred
think that
traditions, I do
exists.
believe.
Yeah.
Like if I were to learn tarot from you, I would treat that as my lineage of tarot.
Yeah. So yeah, and yeah, well, and again, and a lot of those things are coming from different cultures, different areas of the world, right? But I don't think that there's any one way to read the tarot.
Yeah.
But I think that the deck exists in the structure that it exists in, because it's been pretty much in the structure that we identify it as, with the exception of maybe one or two cards, right? It's been kind of in that structure for at least like close to a couple of centuries now. Going further back, it had, if you go further back to like the old Tarochi decks, I mean, there were cards in there were cards in there that had like, like for the virtues, there were astrological cards, and a lot of that has been kind of lost over the years. Like the deck's been simplified because it used to be a much bigger deck.
And then we have the Atea,
yeah,
which is the closest thing we could kind of see to those older Tarochis.
Yeah. But but it's kind of had that form, like what we identify it as. And so I guess there's just this part of me that's like, I mean, work with the tool however you want to, but you need to be careful about how you choose to modify the tool, because you can only do that to a certain point before it's not going to work for you the way that it's supposed
before it's
to.
no longer the tool.
Yeah, and then you're looking at something else.
A knife is a knife is a knife. A knife is supposed to cut things. It's supposed to, there's multiple purposes for a knife, but ultimately at the end of the day, you can kill with a knife or you can cut a cake with a knife.
Yeah.
And you might need to do both at some point.
One other quick note I wanted to add on this, and then I'll move on really quickly, but I was honestly surprised. This is the first thing I put on Threads that was actually like tarot specific. And I'm kind of curious to hear your response on this, to be honest, because I don't normally like run in these social, like internet circles, like the tarot community.
Yeah.
I'm kind of more like the witchcraft occult community, which does overlap into the tarot. Definitely. But you're definitely more like the tarot community. But the tarot community on Threads is fucking hella toxic. Oh my God.
That's sad.
That's why I deleted that post, is the fucked up shit people were coming back at me with.
I've noticed that I haven't really engaged with the Threads tarot community beyond like when I do my little card of a day, and then I don't get any fucking views on it, whatever. I'm just putting it on there, whatever.
I'll start sharing.
I mean, they're just little, I haven't done it in a while anyway, but like yeah, I'm not consistency, I know. Okay, but like I, will be like looking if somebody does make a response to like, oh, I really, need that. And I'll be, I'll get little glimpses of the tarot community so far on Threads. It's definitely in its infancy. It is not where the dreamland that was 2013 Instagram tarot community. If you know, you know. Okay. That was tarot mafia in a nutshell. Like everyone was like, oh, and I see where you got that, and I'm getting this though. Like, what do you think about that? Look, could this apply to this? It's just this whole sharing thing. But on Threads, it's very I think you got a lot of younger people clashing with more just like like, oh yeah, I can make anything work kind of people. And then like the real like traditional, like I'm the master person
Yeah.
of all tarot mixing together. And so there's this weird fight of people not understanding each other's contexts
Yeah.
because there's almost multiple tarot communities right now clashing on threads
Yeah.
because they've never been in contact with each other before.
Ah,
You have
okay.
the Instagram community of threads mixing with the Twitter community, that's coming over, and that's always been toxic.
Gotcha.
Twitter tarot has always been toxic. Instagram tarot wasn't always toxic. YouTube tarot is pretty like, oh yeah, I can kind of, roll with it. If I don't like it, I don't look at
Gotcha.
it.
Okay.
So I think it's very much in its infancy, and people need to be nicer to each other, but like also like you just because you had your first couple like big ass accurate readings, like not to take that away from people, but like that doesn't automatically make you a master of anything. That makes you skilled, and it tells you your skill points are raising in your tarot section, and you should definitely be proud of that. But just maybe don't be afraid to take some advice from us older people,
Yeah.
if we just throw it in there. But the wording, I've had to be very careful with my wording in engaging with people in the tarot community on threads. But I luckily have not had any negative. I either have no feedback, or it's like, oh, great,
Okay. Well, that's
So,
good. That's good. Okay.
but I can see what you're saying.
I was like, yeah, I was just taken aback because like all I've heard about threads is like, oh, it's so much better than Twitter. It's so much positive. I was like, oh God, these people from Twitter, they're here. They're awful.
You gotta literally block all of them until you reformulate your algorithm to get away from the toxies.
Gotcha. Damn.
So
Why can't those people all just like die in fiery accidents and just make the world a better place?
I know I don't think they're they you know what, Mike? They're destiny swapping us.
That must be it. That's it.
My
Oh my God, you're right, Mia. You're right.
What else did you have?
Damn them. The only other thing I really wanted to talk about, and this is something that affects the three of us personally. Um, we're getting into spooky season.
Mhm.
We are in spooky season. It starts early for some of us, right? And I don't really want to make this like a huge like issue, but I wanted to talk about this with our saltines and those of you out there maybe who stumble on the podcast, who um who like getting spiritual services, who like taking classes, who like doing these things. Excuse me. And again, this is something that we've kind of talked about on the podcast before, but it's been a minute. We were contacted by someone recently around this time of year. We book a lot of private parties and events for our psychics here. Our psychics here are always very popular, and they book a lot of private parties this time of year. Everybody wants to throw a Halloween party, and they want to have a psychic or somebody there to, and then of course it's always like entertainment, right? Because it's always entertainment. They don't realize like this is actually like a real thing that's actually meant to be for like your personal improvements and bettering your life. But it can also be fun. So, so it's entertainment, right? But
Fun.
it's fine. Right. And so anyway, so they want to book. So we got an inquiry about somebody who wanted to book a psychic. And this is somebody from like a local company. And this is like this is a place that is like they have money. We'll just say that.
Mhm.
Okay. And they
Was it
can
doTERRA?
no, and they can afford to pay for a psychic to come and work their party. And I'm going to say, first of all, that the rates that we charge to go
Very
are
inexpensive.
very,
We are very affordable.
very affordable.
And we do that because
And-
we want to make it fun. We do want to make it
We want
accessible.
everybody to be able to be a part of what we do. And and I wish, anyway, I wish people would see that. But so this person came back after I contacted them back to follow up with, the inquiry that they submitted about booking, and they contacted me back and they were upset about what we wanted to charge for someone to come and work their events. And I was, and they're like, oh, you can't go any lower on that pricing. And I'm like, so I messaged them back and I'm like, actually, you're gonna find if you make a few calls to other places like ours, that
Good
like
luck.
this rate is actually probably among the most affordable in the area.
Yeah.
And you're getting probably the best psychics
Yeah,
in the
and
area.
what you pay for.
And
Yeah, if you go any lower than what we're doing, it's like, okay, you're
exactly.
getting people just
Yeah.
practicing.
Like if you don't really care and you just need somebody there to flip tarot cards on a table, ask your
That's your
friend.
cousin.
Yeah, to go and buy a tarot deck and fake it for your friends and
Just come into our shop, get a tarot deck,
Anyway,
and you can
so
You
flip
can
cards
just
and
dress
just
up and do
read
it.
right out of the book.
anyway, so that's what kind of brought this to a head, because this is a conversation that we've had a lot over the years with other people though. And for the benefit of those who listen to the podcast, okay, I want to remind you all that people who work in a professional capacity within the spiritual community, people who work as professional psychics, people who work as Reiki practitioners, people who work as spiritual teachers, coaches, mentors, whatever the hell it is they're doing, if they are doing that at a professional level, they are doing that and they are making their living doing that, it is unfair. It is unreasonable for you to expect them to do that work for free or at a reduced rate, unless
Yes.
they make it clear that they are willing to do so. And a lot of us do. Like we do so much free work here, and we give
I've
away
done at least 20 free readings in the last month.
and we
And 3 free
and saying that, so we're not the only ones. Like I know other shops
and there's
other
other
practitioners in the area
practitioners
who
on-
also
yeah,
do
they
a lot
do
of free work,
that.
and we charge on a sliding scale, and a lot of other people will charge sliding scale rates and things like that.
Mhm.
Like, so I mean, so that's a really common practice. I guess it bothers me sometimes, because when I think about that, and then I think about that in a different context, and I think, okay, would you go see your doctor and expect your doctor to like give you like a free appointment? Would you expect your doctor to like charge you on like a sliding scale?
Yes.
Like, well, they probably would, because they're entitled, right? If they're that kind of person. But
But also that's medical stuff.
but
Everyone deserves
but
medical
in the
care.
world, well,
Oh,
okay,
no,
okay, but
it's like a
see,
mechanic. So
okay,
what about
a
swapping your
mechanic,
battery?
a
Like,
mechanic,
would
right?
you expect
Okay.
a mechanic who's making his living, like he's just trying to build his garage, he's just trying to make his life, and he's swapping your battery, you just want, well, that looked easy.
Yeah, it's like, so I don't have to pay you for that, right? Because that only took you 5 minutes, right? So I guess where I'm going with
I
that
get
is
what
like,
you're saying.
so like I see that, when I think about that, there's this part of me that's like, okay, these kinds of people, what that tells me is that they obviously don't actually have any respect for what we do.
No, of course not.
It's like
Yes,
they either one, they don't think it's real, or they can't, they don't respect it enough to see that it actually holds value in their lives.
so then why are they even asking?
Exactly. So it's like,
It's
why are you
entertainment.
like, so why are you
Well, then
even
they need
here?
to pay us entertainment
So like,
level
why are you
prices
even here?
and.
Well, the
you
thing
know
is
what?
they'd be paying a hell of a lot more if it were entertainment, right?
Yep.
Like if
You
they
want-
were, if
you
you were,
want-
I get paid $1,000 a show. You want me to
You
do
know?
that? You pay me $1,000 for a night to
There
read
you
tarot.
go.
You know, what's
And
interesting.
I will make it all up. I will
Yeah,
put on
we'll
a
just-
fake accent. I will wrap my head.
We'll be like, hold on the spirits, and then we put contacts really quick.
there you go. Exactly. Well, and I think a lot of them don't realize that most of us have actually taken, like, we've spent years and we have spent a lot of our
It's-
own money.
Yes, it's just like
with,
going to
like we've
school.
taken, like we've learned, we have taken classes, we have also gone and we have paid for like mentorships and certifications, and we have done those things. And it's like anybody else who goes to get an education, like they do that so that they can then take those skills and they can afford to live doing that work. And if you're not willing to pay people who have done that to do the work, then you're sooner or later, you're going to be living in a world where you don't have Reiki practitioners, you don't have professional psychics, you don't have spiritual teachers.
You don't have clergy.
Because we're going to give it all up and we're going to have to go get office jobs. And then you guys are going to be wandering around wondering like, well, why can't I?
If I ever have to go back to an office job, I seriously, I would charge, if anyone wanted a tarot reading beyond like people that I would want to gift a reading to, anyone trying to come up on me wanting a reading, I would charge them out the fucking ass just because I'd be so fucking bitter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'd be so fucking
Yeah.
bitter.
Well,
I'd
and-
be so defeated.
Yeah.
I love making my prices affordable. I love that I get to work in a shop that has affordable prices. And to your added point, I literally got a message from someone claiming to have worked with me prior and trying to get like free readings and mentorship because they would be introducing me to somebody. And that's a different but also like similar thing is like, okay, you're in the new age community, you're involved in an MLM, I get it. That's that grind, but I'm not in that, like not everyone is in that world of life coach,
Mhm.
MLM stuff,
Mhm.
okay? And I just think we could all use a little bit more respect on people's names.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
a lot more respect on people's practices, their work practices, their personal and spiritual practices.
Yeah.
We need to start valuing each other and respect.
Mhm.
Swear to God, people don't learn respect. And I know there's always the older generation saying that, but like it's it becomes apparent. Maybe it's a time of our lives kind of thing
Mhm.
that we're realizing like, oh, not everyone is taught like the same kind of how to hold people at a base level of respect and what that should
Mhm.
look like. Yeah, it's fucking offensive.
Yeah.
It's fucking offensive to be asked to, when a price is agreed upon and then after the fact, someone asks if you can go lower.
Mhm.
I think those are my biggest
Yeah,
slaps.
that's a slap in the face.
That's the biggest slap in the face.
Yeah.
I will never, if you ever have put me in that situation when I was maybe so tired after the event and I was just like, fuck it, okay, do whatever. Like in the past, like I'm not doing that anymore. I've learned how to like do my Aries shit a little bit better. I'm still working on that, but I would really retreat into my Virgo rising, Libra moon, like fucking, it's okay. I loved reading for everyone. It was a great experience.
Yeah.
Like, I like I will never fucking work for those people again.
Mhm.
I will never fucking no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the most draining, it's the most taxing on the
Mhm.
soul. It's so heartbreaking.
Yeah. Well,
I just honestly, I like saltines, like we're Salty Witches podcast. I'm gonna tell you right now, like shit like this makes me want to raise my prices. It makes me just out of spite.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
we're not yelling at you guys.
I'm not saying,
Okay.
yeah, no, I'm not.
We're
I'm
just,
talking
yeah,
like,
I just,
like
but this is a,
intimately,
yeah, but
like,
this is a conversation that needs to be
ugh.
had. And I want you guys, because I know one of the other reasons I wanted to bring this up, I know you want to say something else, okay, but real quick, one of the reasons I also wanted to bring this up is I know that a lot of the people who listen to our podcast are people who are also to some level trying to either currently are working at some level professionally in a spiritual capacity or are trying to break into that kind of work at a professional level. And I want you to be thinking about this.
Yes.
I want you to be thinking about this when you look at the business piece behind your work and what you choose to charge for your services and how you handle those conversations, because there will be people out there who will not understand. They either they don't understand, or they're just garbage people
They
who
want
won't
real
value you.
readers to pay for the sins of scammers. So like I remember coming into it, I was like, oh, you can just pay me and tip me after the reading,
Mhm.
whatever you think is right.
Yeah.
Because I was already coming into it apologetic because of there are all these scammers.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not like that, but like if I could go back and tell myself 10 years ago, like, there's much more clients who would take advantage of you as a reader than there are that you will be more directly affected in your life by clients who will take advantage of you, as opposed to scamming readers.
Yep.
You will be much more personally affected.
Yeah.
Have a base price, and Tarot Mafia doesn't charge less than $60 an hour.
Mhm.
Just saying. That's Tarot Mafia. You're coming into Tarot Mafia, you're $60 an hour. That's your minimum. Minimum. You have a year under your belt, year and a half. I don't care. $60 minimum.
And if you're feeling weird about charging for your services at all, remember the law of exchange.
Yes. What
Because
is the law of exchange?
People will not value something if they have not had to pay something for it.
Well,
And you're giving them your energy. They need to give you something in return. And in the context of a reading, the only thing they can really give you in return is money. Unless you're
Yes.
willing to barter for service.
Yep.
If you're okay doing that, and what they have to give you back is worth is your interest, wonderful. I've done readings for people who have baked me like food. I've done readings for people who have painted me pictures. I've done readings for people. I'm totally down to barter. You know, as long as it's something that I can see, like it holds value to me. Like, okay, yeah, I have a use for this in my life.
Yeah, but don't start out.
Don't start with that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't approach us and be like, hey, I know you have an electric bill that you need to pay this month, but would you take a picture my kid drew? It's like, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I can't.
no, that kind of
Like,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
like,
like I
yeah,
have
please
this
don't-
crystal,
yeah.
and it's like I love that,
Yeah.
but like
Is that going to pay my bill?
it's not gonna pay my bill. It's not gonna be like a tattoo or like, like some kind of actual health service or something.
You people that like to barter for shit, let the person that you're seeking service from, let them start that discussion.
Yes.
If you're seeking the service, you don't get to start that discussion.
Yes.
The person giving you the service, the person you want something from, they have to start that discussion because that's their decision.
Yes. That's basically what I've been trying to say
Mhm.
is
We keep interrupting him. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
It was me.
I hated that stuff. Working at like going to fairs. I'm sorry. Going to like fairs and like events and stuff like that. And people coming up to the booth who weren't busy at their own booth going, would you want to trade our Reiki session for our reading? And I'm like, no. Oh, well, you could use some Reiki. Great. I'm a Reiki master. Oh, well, I do this special kind of Reiki. Awesome. Can I have your card or book a session with you? I will pay you for your service.
Yeah.
Would you like to pay me for a reading? No? Okay, cool. Awesome. I have 3 people who are waiting. Goodbye.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I
Not
get
in
it.
that
There's this idea.
context.
I never charge for my readings. I never charge for my services. It's a gift. Okay, Gerald Gardner.
No,
You know?
seriously, I used to be of that school of thought before, like I was even willing to accept tips.
Gifts, unless that gift is in the form of you paying my rent, my bill, my phone,
Mhm.
my student loan. I'll tell you what, anyone out there watching this, you wanna pay off my student loans, free readings, free Reiki,
There
free
you
spell
go.
work for life.
There you go.
I don't understand that mindset because at no point in the history of humanity in any other kind of spirituality or any other kind of religious structure
Mhm.
has that ever been the case. There is no society that
I
exists
think it comes from
where
shame.
spiritual. I think that's a big part of
I
it.
think it's religious
I
shame.
also think a lot of it has to do with the programming that we get from religion around alternative spiritual belief,
Mhm.
and the discrediting of those kinds of belief systems. I think that if you look even going way back, even even current religions,
Yes.
like you look at churches, like the community around a church, like the pastor, the reverend, the minister, the bishop, whatever the fuck he's called, or like whatever they may be, right? They're not doing that work for free. The community is
technically
paid.
Mormon bishops do not get paid.
Well,
they're non-paid.
They are
clergy.
non-paid, but they're also allowed to maintain employment outside of that position,
Mhm.
right? They're not
No,
clergy full
it's
time.
it's full time.
Right. If you are someone, you look at like tribal situations,
Yeah.
right? The shaman, the medicine person within that tribe, in exchange for doing the spiritual work that they would do, they were typically elevated to a position of authority within their community, and they were taken care of by the community.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like they were given a share of the food that was harvested. They were given a share of the food that was hunted, right? Like they were taken care of by their communities, right? In exchange for the work that they would do,
Mhm.
right? And that was the exchange. So there's never been in any situation a moment where people who were spiritually gifted, spiritual workers, were just given that shit away consistently for free. That
Yeah.
does not exist. It never has.
Yes.
You know, if you want to do that here and there because you're a good person, and that is a good thing to do, that's amazing. Go for it.
There's some times where you do want to just give a gift to someone. Maybe you're
Are you so pretty?
you're like a professional baker in Vegas or like food person. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna, bring this dope ass thing to my neighbor that I know is getting surgery. It's like that's
That's
your
kindness.
choice. It's like you're good at this thing and you want to give a gift. That's different.
Also,
We're saying is like all the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
I also don't. Something that really has been getting on my nerves lately, or not on my nerves, but like really makes me go, why are you here? Is when people sit down, the first thing out of their mouth is, I only have this much to my name. And it's like, okay, so you should probably not be getting a reading.
Yeah,
because
like-
a reading is a luxury.
Like, pay your bill, dude.
But then at that point, I feel bad because I'm like, oh, well, that sucks.
They manipulate.
You know, and then so service is free. And then they're like, oh, I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. I'm like, really? Are you? Are you?
Yeah, but then you find out that they go to a concert 2 days later. It's like, oh, you had money to pay for a concert ticket. Okay.
So do not do that to your reader or anything like that. Don't just sit down and go, I only have $5 to my name. And it's like, okay, then
Like, why did you just burden a practice? You're seeking a service. I'm going up to a tattoo artist saying, I only have $10, but I need a cover up done.
Yeah.
What?
exactly, you know, and there will be those times more often than not for me where I'm like, you know, I will gift it. I will
need to
do a
do
charitable
better
thing, you
boundaries.
know.
Yeah.
But there's also there's this part of me that's after that's like,
You feel dirty after.
You
You
do.
start feeling dirty
It's
after.
like you feel like a prostitute with really low
Yeah,
rates.
I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I like a slut, a tarot
I just
slut.
gave that one away for free.
Yeah.
Oh, now I've got all these
Love
STIs.
them.
Exactly. There you go.
so yeah, don't do that. If you're really struggling with money, then
Pay your fucking bill.
pay your bills.
Yeah.
Don't go
Talk
get
to
a
us
reading.
about-
We want you to pay your bills.
Yes, we want you to pay your bills. So that way you will actually be able to receive
Yeah.
the information and the guidance that we have.
That way, when you come back and see us like a couple months later, like the reading that we then will give you will be a much better reading experience because that's one less thing that won't come up in your cards as being a fucked up factor in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, tip your spiritual
Tip your
people
readers.
because I
started like a whole thing here.
I'm just saying there are times where
Or we're
people-
not going to be able to stay as affordable, honestly.
Exactly. You know, there's this thing where people sit down and they go on and they're, oh my God, you were amazing, and
Singing your
and
praises.
singing your praises. They give you all the good reviews and and then it's like, oh,
Okay.
no tip.
Okay.
Oh well, I paid for the service. It's like, well, that's great. You didn't pay. You
If
didn't.
you don't tip me, I expect you to sing praises on goddamn Google review.
Yeah.
then.
If you don't tip me, the least you can do is give me
Least
a
you
good
can do
Google
is
review.
something online, sharing around, doing it that
So,
way. The very fucking
yeah.
least.
Anyway, I think we're done.
That's all I've
Yeah,
got. Yeah,
moving
I was gonna say, yeah, we need to wrap it up for tonight.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Saltines. It was lovely.
Thank you, everybody. Sorry the end of the episode.
Sorry about the bitches.
Sorry to do a bitch fest, but important stuff to talk about.
Mars and Cancer, we need to vent with each
Well,
other.
I think
out.
this definitely does kind of fall under the umbrella of Tarot Mafia.
Yes.
Yeah,
kind of
these
stuff,
we're
right?
kind of
Like-
outlining ethics.
don't-
learn from our mistakes.
Yes, learn
Yes.
from our mistakes. Don't sell yourself short.
Don't sell yourself short.
Right. And those of you who are not tarot readers, be aware of these things because we're aware of these things.
Yeah.
and we talk to each other and we watch this shit.
Yes.
Yes.
We watch out
And
for each other.
you want us to be good readers. We want you to be good clients.
Yes.
I will fire a client. I've done it before.
Yes.
You
I had to-
love to fire clients.
I had to teach someone, like one of my clients, it was a situation where I was like, do you know, like someone who's working professionally, like self-employed and a non-spiritual thing, and I literally had to tell them, you know, you're allowed to fire your client. And they didn't think of that. They were like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
I don't have to take this shit. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So empowerment. I think
Yeah.
that's what we've been getting at. All of this thread, the thread between these last little things we've been talking about, these disempowering situations between the client relationship, is about like don't disempower yourself. As a client to a reader, don't disempower yourself. And as a reader to a client, do not disempower yourself.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, go to www.catandcauldron.com to see all of Cat and Cauldron's upcoming classes and events, or to book with one of our fabulous readers, such as Tarot Misa over here, or myself.
Well, this is Mia, but her business is Tarot Misa.
Yes, this is
Yeah.
Mia, but
My Square account is terrible.
Yeah, have good nights, good evening, good days, wherever you're at in the world, and happy
We'll
witching.
be back in a couple weeks.